Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another daily dose of Ixalan spoilers. And honestly, we kind of have a quiet day today. We don't have that many cards to talk about in general, but we have one Mythic, we have one Sweet Rare, we have one super exciting reprint, and then a few commons and uncommons. Regardless, I think we should jump right into it. I think this is mostly the calm before the Hascon storm that's going to be coming this weekend, so I expect we'll have much more to talk about soon. Anyway, first up, we have the Mythic for the day, Vana Megan's Executioner, a sweet new vampire legendary. 5 mana, you get a 4/4 with Vigilance and Lifelink. You can tap it and pay 7 life to blow up a non-land permanent, which means anything. If you want to kill your opponent's Nicole Bolas, this can do it. You got to kill a Paradox Engine or an annoying creature. It can deal with any non-land permanent, which is a pretty sweet upside for Vana. As far as a card comparison, I think probably the easiest comparison is Blood Baron of Vizkopa. Because it has the same mana cost, it has the same power and toughness, it's a vampire with lifelink. The thing is, I think Vana is a lot less powerful than Blood Baron of Vizkopa. What made Blood Baron pretty strong was the protection abilities, made it hard to block, it made it really hard to kill. Vana is actually surprisingly fragile for a 5 mana Mythic. The other thing with Vana, as far as Standard is concerned, and the reason I don't really know if it'll see play, is it just matches up really poorly with other options. If you think about what Vana does, I guess it could be the top end, maybe a 1 of, 2 of in a vampire deck, but it really seems most at home in some sort of mid-rangey or even control build as kind of a good threat, a finisher. But you got the Scarab God, you got Angel of Invention, you got Crested Sunmare, a lot of powerful options in that 5 mana slot. More importantly, Vana just matches up really poorly with the standard format. If you think about the decks that are going to survive Temur Energy, Ramen Pred, you're going to be seeing a lot of Chandra Torture Defiance, a lot of Glory Bringers, probably more Cut to Ribbons now that rotation has happened and some of the other options have left the format. And all those cards really effectively kill Vana when they don't kill a Scarab God. They don't kill a Crested Sunmare. They don't even really kill an Angel of Invention because at least you have the tokens left behind. So the combination of a ton of good options and the poor matching up with removal makes me think that Vana is pretty unlikely to see a significant amount of standard play right away. However, there is one place I am really excited for Vana. We just got the Vampire deck from Commander 2017. It was in the Mardu colors. The weird thing about the Vampire deck is it had one less commander than all the other decks, and all of the commanders were Mardu. So if you wanted to use your sweet new Commander Vampires and make a black-white Vampire deck, there just wasn't a good option available. Vana kind of fills that gap. It feels like this is almost the missing Vampire commander from the Commander 2017 deck. So I think it's really cool that you can pick up a Vana and use that to build straight white-black vampires, using some of the cards from your Vampire pre-construct deck and also throwing in some new stuff. And here, Vana doesn't really have much competition at all. The only legendary white-black vampire in the history of Magic is Vishkal, Blood Arbiter. And while Vishkal is super sweet, it's also really expensive. So if you want a cheaper option, Vana is great there. And in Commander in specific, paying 7 life to blow up anything is awesome, because you start at 40 life, so paying 7 is not that big of a deal, especially since you have other things that gain you life. Even Vana itself gains life. You can attack with it, gain some life by attacking someone that doesn't have a blocker, and use that life to tap it since it has Vigilance to blow something up. So there's some really sweet things there. Paying 7 out of 40 is much less impactful compared to playing 7 out of 20, which puts you all the way down to 13. You just can't use the ability that much in Standard. So not excited for Vana in Standard, but think it's an awesome option for a Vampire deck in Commander and a really cool upgrade path, or not even an upgrade, but just to build something very different out of your Vampire Commander 2017 deck. Our rare for the day is Argul's Bloodfast, which is a pretty sweet enchantment. 2 mana, legendary enchantment. You can pay 1 in a black, you draw a card and pay 2 life. And then, if you ever get down below 5 life, you get to flip around into Temple of Aklazul, which is really sweet. Not only does it add a black mana, you can sack a creature to gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So what we have here is kind of a twist on Greed. It's a Greed that costs much less on the front half. Instead of 4 mana, it's only 2 mana. However, you have to pay an extra mana to draw the card. same 2 life payment, but that's kind of where it fits. It's basically like a twist on a greed, and then it flips around into an upgraded version of Diamond Valley, letting you sack creatures to gain life. Adding black mana is a huge upgrade there, so I think this is especially exciting for Commander, where greed is already a heavily played card. Diamond Valley is a nice sacrifice option. Black decks like to be sacrificing things anyway in Commander, so I really like the potential in Commander. As far as Standard is concerned, we're losing Ob Nixilis. We don't really have a good card draw engine for mono black decks. We have Midnight Oil, but I think Arguel's Bloodfast might just be better than Midnight Oil. Why I think Midnight Oil is a little bit better than some people think. The downside is actually pretty important, and the discarding cards and losing life can actually add up. So I think we could see Arguel's Bloodfast in mono black decks, just to draw a bunch of cards, draw a bunch of cards, draw a bunch of cards. And then once you flip around, I don't think you really build around this ability necessarily, but just having the option when your opponent goes to kill your Ammon Eternal, kill your Gonti, you can gain a little bit of life for it. Or if you're desperate and just about to die because you were all the way down under 5 life, this is a way to gain that life back and make sure you don't lose to Lightning Strike to the face or something like that. As far as specific decks in Standard, I think the one that's most fun would be some sort of Bantu the Glorified, Hidden Stockpile, Anointed Procession. In the early game, you can draw a bunch of cards with Arguel's Bloodfast, find your hidden stockpiles, find your combo pieces, and then after you flip around, the ability to just sacrifice a servo token, turn your Bantu into a creature, trigger Revolt, gain a life along the way, seems super powerful in a deck like that. So we'll see if we can have some sort of aristocratic self-sacrifice themed deck featuring Arguel's Bloodfast in Standard. I think there's at least some potential there. How good it'll be, I have no idea, but it's something that sounds really fun, and I definitely want to try it out. I mentioned we got one super sweet reprint to talk about, and that is Spell Pierce, modern / legacy / vintage staple counterspell. 1 mana instant, counters a non-creature spell unless its controller plays 2. This is a super powerful option. It's kind of a different take on negate. So negate is better if the game goes long, because paying 2 isn't that much mana. Sooner or later, your opponent's going to have the mana to pay for it, but in the early game, Spell Pierce is very efficient, just as efficient as it gets. It is a very strong counter spell. The interesting thing with Spell Pierce is how you use it. So you can play Spell Pierce in a control deck. It's a fine sideboardy card for control, and speaking of sideboards, that's probably the most likely place for Spell Pierce overall. It could show up in the main deck in very specific builds if the format is very spell and non-creature heavy, but it's more than likely mostly a sideboard type card. So it's fine in control decks where you can just use it as a counter spell to annoy your opponent, but where it really shines is in more tempo-y, aggressive decks where you can pressure your opponent, like Pirates, for example. You're curving out, you're pressuring your opponent, or maybe even some sort of blue-red spells deck with Enigma Drake or something. So that's where Spell Pierce is at its best. When you can curve out, you only have to leave up 1 mana, so you're able to keep deploying threats while leaving up the Spell Pierce, and then when your opponent goes to Fumigate and Wrath your board, or kill your Enigma Drake with Vraska's Contempt, or play a Chandra that threatens to take over the game, you can use your Spell Pierce to counter that for just 1 mana. So it's amazing in those tempo type decks, and that's really where Spell Pierce shines. If you think of decks like Delver and Fairies and those type of tempo-y, aggressive control decks, that is the place where you really want to play Spell Pierce. So overall, Spell Pierce is going to be a great card for Standard. I expect it to be in tons of sideboards. It will be very heavily played. It's fine in all different kinds of decks, but it really shines if you're an aggressive deck or a tempo-based deck that really needs that cheap, efficient counter so you can keep deploying threats and leave up protection for your threats. As far as the random commons and uncommons, we just got a bunch of enraged dinosaurs, Ravenous Daggertooth, Raptor Hatchling, Ranging Raptors, and these cards are fine. They're mostly limited cards. They have fairly powerful abilities, and they're not that far below the curve. I mean, Raptor Hatchling is a 2-drop that's only a 1/1, but if you can block with it 1 time, you get a 3/3 for 2 and that free block out of it. Ranging Raptors can potentially search out a bunch of lands, or Ravenous Daggertooth up in a life gain, kind of this weird enraged Kitchen Finks type thing. I don't know how these will work in Standard. We really got to see if Dinosaur Tribal really matters. There's a better chance that they show up, although Reddit did find a super janky combo for ranging raptors in Modern. So the main idea is you get your ranging raptors out along with a rite of passage that keeps putting counters on your stuff when they're dealt damage. Then you have a pyrohemia to ping your ranging raptors, which is going to put a counter on it and allow you to tutor out a basic land that comes into play tapped, except you have an amulet of vigor out as well, so that land is going to untap, which means you get another mountain so you can activate your pyrohemia again, so you can ping your raptors again, get a counter with rite of passage, search out another land. End result is you basically get all the mountains out of your deck and make a pretty big ranging raptor. So obviously this isn't something that's going to break any formats. It's a lot of pieces, pretty janky pieces at that, but it is cool to see that there are enrage combos out there. So anyway, that brings us to the end of our daily spoilers for today. Like I said, not a huge day as far as spoilers. So what do you think about the new vampire? Is it better for standard than I think it is, or is it just a super sweet commander card? What about Argus's Bloodfast? Is that card going to see any standard play? Is it too greedy for standard? Is it just a commander thing? How about Spell Pierce? What does that do to the standard format? Are any of these dinosaurs actually going to be standard playable, or are they just limited fodder and fun fill out your commander dinosaur deck type cards? Anyway, let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.